how I discovered storytelling when I was a little boy. My family has a vacation place up in Michigan in the North Woods with pine, with the lake in the background, and a series of little cottages there that represent different branches of my family going back over 200 years. And in my childhood summers, there was a relative of mine named Julian who was, during the year, a chemistry teacher in rural Kentucky. And in the summers, on Sunday mornings, he would set up in his back lawn these tree stumps that all the kids along the strip would come, and we'd each take a tree stump and we'd pass out little bits of cherry wood, and we'd take out our pocket knives and we'd begin to carve little faces and images into the cherry wood while he would sit back in his rocking chair and tell stories of the Old Testament in his Appalachian drawl. And it was wonderful to hear these biblical stories as if it were hillbillies in a confrontation over fence. One story that I remember in particular was the confrontation between Pharaoh and Moses. And this is sort of how it went. Pharaoh, I've come to talk to you about something very important. I'm going to raise my staff. I'm going to ask you just once. Are you going to let my people go? And Pharaoh, he turned to Moses and he said, Moses, you're my brother and I love you, but I ain't going to let your people go. And Moses, he said, he turned to Pharaoh and he says, kind of thought you'd say that. You are my brother and I love you. And if it were just me, I would go out of this room and never see you again. But it ain't just me here. I have the Spirit of the Lord in me. And to show you the power of the Lord, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to put it in my vest. And when I take it out, it will be palsied. And I'm going to take that palsied hand and I'm going to put it in my vest. And when I take it out again, it will be clean. And Pharaoh, he turns to Moses and he says, Moses, that was impressive. That was mighty impressive. But I ain't going to let your people go. And this would go back and forth with all the plagues and all the events, the magical events. And I always think about that story wherever I go in this arts and health journey that I'm on, because it captures so many recurring themes in the work. It captures disease and healing. It captures magic. It captures what happens when you're in a situation with an unequal power relationship. It talks about displaced communities and preserving your past, your culture through story, through the arts. But for me personally, Julian was so important in my childhood that I actually named my firstborn son after him. And I couldn't be here in this place today with that story still inside me and not tell it. I can feel his presence now, smiling in love and appreciation, because I finally told his story in the place of its origin, in Egypt.